Lord, grant me the wisdom to recognize my worth, even when others fail to see it. Give me the strength to walk away from those who do not honor my presence, and the courage when someone ignores you. The natural instinct is to question yourself. You begin to wonder if you did something wrong, if you said something you shouldn't have, or if you're simply not good enough. Internal dialogue can become overwhelming because silence is often louder than words. But it is in those moments of being ignored that you must stop and remind yourself of one fundamental truth. Your value does not decrease simply because someone else chooses not to acknowledge it. Their silence is not a reflection of who you are. It is a reflection of what they are willing or unwilling to give. You must understand that when someone withholds their attention, are also withholding the very foundation upon which real relationships are built. Relationships are nurtured through acknowledgement, communication, and presence. When one of these pillars is missing, especially acknowledgement, the entire connection begins to weaken. Attention is not just something nice to have. It is the currency of love, trust, and respect. Without it, bonds cannot grow and love cannot thrive. When you allow yourself to internalize someone else's neglect, you end up devaluing yourself. You may begin chasing their approval, thinking that if you try harder, they will finally turn toward you. But in reality, chasing someone who ignores you only teaches them that they can continue to take you for granted. It shows them that your worth is negotiable, that you will settle for crumbs when you deserve a feast. You cannot spend your life begging for the bare minimum. The moment you demand less than what you deserve, you give away your power. That is why self-respect must come before acceptance. You must be willing to walk away from what does not honor you, even if it hurts, even if it feels lonely at first, because the cost of staying is far greater than the cost of leaving. Staying means draining your soul while convincing yourself that one day they might change. Walking away, however, is the act of reclaiming your peace and realigning with your worth. Walking away does not make you weak. It makes you powerful. It takes immense strength to remove yourself from someone who does not see your value. It takes courage to say, I will no longer lower my standards just to keep someone in my life. When you walk away, you flip the dynamic. Suddenly, your silence becomes the loudest message you could ever deliver. You no longer have to argue, beg, or explain. Your absence speaks with authority. And often it is in your absence that the person who ignored you finally feels the depth of your presence. They begin to realize that your laughter, your kindness, your support, and your love were not things they could easily replace. Every loss teaches value. Your absence becomes a lesson they cannot escape. The beautiful truth is this: when you protect your peace and set boundaries, you are not punishing the other person. You are healing yourself. Boundaries are acts of love toward yourself. They guard your spirit from those who cannot honor it. Ignoring their dismissal does not mean you are indifferent. It means you have chosen to prioritize your energy. It means you refuse to let someone else's neglect define your worth. And in that act of choosing yourself, you create space for what is meant for you. You create room for connections that are filled with respect, presence, and love. So when someone ignores you, don't let their silence become the measure of your value. Instead, let it remind you of your power to walk away. Let it strengthen your resolve to never beg for attention, but to stand tall in the knowledge of who you are. Because at the end of the day, your worth is not up for debate. It is not diminished by neglect. It is not erased by silence. It is constant, unshakable, and undeniable. And the moment you embrace that truth, you no longer fear being ignored. You understand it is a filter, removing those who cannot afford the treasure that you are. Attention is one of the purest forms of love. It is what makes you feel seen, heard, and valued. When someone pays attention to you, it is not just about them listening to your words. It is about them investing their energy into your presence. Is why being ignored hurts so deeply. It feels like you do not matter, like your existence does not carry weight in their world. But here is the truth you must hold close. Attention is currency. Anyone who withholds it is showing you exactly where they are placing their investments. They may not say it outright, but their actions reveal everything you need to know. If their attention flows elsewhere, then their heart is not with you. No matter how many excuses you make for them, no matter how much you try to justify their behavior, a lack of acknowledgement tells you the reality you may not want to face. You cannot build a meaningful connection when the foundation is unstable. Imagine pouring yourself into a relationship, offering love, support, and care, yet being met with silence or dismissal. It creates a void that only grows larger over time. Attention is the glue that keeps two people connected. When one side refuses to contribute, the bond begins to crumble. Too many people spend their lives chasing after the attention of someone who has already chosen to ignore them. They give chance after chance, waiting for that person to finally wake up and see their worth. But waiting for acknowledgement from someone who does not value you is like waiting for rain in a desert. You can hope all you want, but it will never come. The moment you realize that attention is currency, you also realize that it should not be wasted. Just like you wouldn't hand over your money to someone who only takes without giving back, you cannot keep giving your energy to someone who refuses to invest in you. Your time, your effort, your love, these are treasures. When someone ignores you, they are saying, I do not value what you bring. And the longer you stay in that space, the more you teach them that their neglect is acceptable. You cannot allow that pattern to continue. At some point, you must decide that you will no longer finance a relationship with your energy while receiving nothing in return. This is where self-respect comes into play. Respect for yourself means acknowledging that your attention is valuable too. It means understanding that when someone withholds theirs, you don't beg, you simply stop giving yours. You redirect it to people, dreams, and environments that actually appreciate it. When you choose self-respect, you break the cycle of trying to earn what should have been freely given. That shift is powerful. Suddenly, you stop waiting for their message, their call, their acknowledgement. You begin to live your life with intention, investing your energy where it produces growth instead of pain. And here is the beautiful paradox. The moment you stop chasing, the person who ignored you often begins to notice. Your silence, your absence, your decision to withdraw your energy, it shakes them. They realize that attention, once taken for granted, is no longer available to them. They feel the void that you once filled, it becomes undeniable. But even if they never recognize it, you win. Because choosing yourself is never a loss. It is always a victory. So remember, attention is not something you beg for. It is something you naturally deserve. If someone withholds it, take it as a clear message. Do not cling to what refuses to acknowledge your worth. Instead, walk away with grace and confidence, knowing that you have the power to direct your energy toward places and people that reflect the value of who you are. In doing so, you reclaim not only your attention, but also your peace, your dignity, and your freedom. Comes a point in life when you must decide whether your need for acceptance is greater than your need for self-respect. Too often, people fall into the trap of believing that being tolerated is the same as being valued. They stay in spaces where their presence is overlooked, where their efforts are dismissed, where their hearts are taken for granted. They think that if they just hold on a little longer, if they compromise a little more, the other person will finally see their worth. But the truth is, self-respect should never be sacrificed for acceptance. When you give up your self-respect to keep someone in your life, you are silently agreeing that their neglect is acceptable. And over time, you begin to lose yourself. Acceptance that requires you to diminish your own worth is not acceptance at all. It is control. It is a manipulation of your desire to belong. Real acceptance celebrates who you are. It does not ask you to shrink, beg, or settle. When someone ignores you, when they fail to acknowledge your presence, they are showing you the boundaries of their capacity. And if their capacity is too small to hold the weight of your love, then it is not your job to make yourself smaller. You were not created to dim your light so someone else can feel comfortable in their shadows. You were created to shine. Those who are meant for you will never require you to beg for their acknowledgement. Choosing self-respect over acceptance means learning to recognize when the cost of staying is greater than the fear of leaving. Yes, walking away is painful. It feels like failure, like rejection, like loss. But what you must realize is that the true failure lies in abandoning yourself. When you continue to tolerate being ignored, you are teaching yourself that your needs don't matter, your feelings are unimportant, and that your value is negotiable. This is the most dangerous lesson of all, because once you believe it, you begin to live it. You start attracting more of the same neglect because your energy says, I am willing to accept less, But when you shift and choose self-respect, everything changes. You begin to walk with a new level of confidence, not because others suddenly see your worth, but because you finally do. You stop begging for attention and start demanding alignment. You stop tolerating silence where there should be communication, absence where there should be presence, and neglect where there should be care. This decision may cause some people to walk away from you, but let them. Their absence will never outweigh the peace that comes with standing firm in your dignity. The beauty of self-respect is that it invites the right kind of acceptance into your life. When you refuse to lower your standards, you attract those who naturally align with them. You create space for relationships that thrive on mutual recognition, love, and respect. You no longer need to question whether you matter, because your life is filled with people and environments that reflect your value back to you. Self-respect becomes a filter, removing what is not for you and making room for what is. So ask yourself this: would you rather be accepted by someone who ignores you or respected by yourself? The answer should be clear. Acceptance without value is empty. Self-respect fills you with strength, peace, and purpose. And once you choose it, you will never again settle for being overlooked. You will know deep in your heart you deserve more, and you will only allow relationships that honor that truth to remain in your life. Walking away is one of the hardest choices you will ever make. It is also one of the most empowering. The human heart longs to hold on, to fix, to prove, and to heal. But sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to release what is no longer serving you. Walking away is not about anger, revenge, or pride. It is about reclaiming your peace and reminding yourself that you are not meant to fight for scraps of love and attention. It is about realizing that your energy is too valuable to be poured into someone who cannot see its worth. It is about understanding that staying in a place where you are ignored chips away at your spirit far more than the temporary pain of leaving ever could. When you walk away, you are sending a clear message, not only to the person who ignored you, but also to yourself. You are declaring, I am enough. I am worthy. I refuse to lower my standards for the sake of keeping someone in my life. That act of courage shifts everything. It transforms your silence into a powerful statement. Suddenly, you no longer have to explain yourself, defend your value, or convince anyone of your importance. Your absence becomes your voice. And believe me, absence is a voice that speaks loudly. People often realize the value of what they had only when it is gone. As long as you are present and available, it is easy for someone to underestimate the power of your presence. They assume you will always be there, waiting, giving, forgiving. But when you remove yourself, when you stop pouring your time and energy into them, are forced to confront a reality without you in it. And that reality is often far heavier than they ever anticipated. The void you leave becomes undeniable. Your laugh or your care, your presence, suddenly these are no longer accessible. And in that moment, they begin to feel the cost of ignoring you. But here is the truth you must hold on to. You do not walk away to teach them a lesson. You walk away to protect yourself. You walk away because peace is too precious to sacrifice for someone else's neglect. You walk away because your worth is too sacred to be questioned by someone who cannot recognize it. This choice is not about punishing them. It is about freeing yourself. Freedom from waiting for a message that never comes. Freedom from overthinking why they remain silent. Freedom from living in a cycle of neglect and hope. Walking away is breaking those chains. And yes, it will hurt. You will feel the emptiness at first because the heart grieves what it loses, even if what it lost was unhealthy. But pain is temporary and peace is lasting. Tears you shed today will water the strength you walk in tomorrow. Every step you take away from what diminished you is a step closer to the life and love you truly deserve. In time, the pain will fade, but the empowerment will remain. So never see walking away as failure. See it as transformation. See it as choosing yourself. See it as unlocking a new chapter where you no longer beg for attention, but command respect through your actions. Remember, this silence can be ignored, but absence cannot. Your decision to walk away will echo louder than any words you could have spoken, and in that echo lies your true power. Because when you walk away with dignity, you don't lose, you win. You win back your time, your peace, your confidence, and your freedom. Every loss in life carries within it a lesson, and often the lesson hidden in being ignored is about value. When you are present and available, people can become comfortable with your presence to the point of taking it for granted. They begin to assume that you will always be there, always forgiving, always giving, always waiting. But when you step back, when you stop pouring your energy into someone who has ignored you, the reality of your absence begins to teach them what your presence once meant. Loss has a way of opening eyes that were once blind. It reveals the weight of what was overlooked and reminds people that nothing valuable lasts forever when it is not cherished. The truth is, sometimes people don't understand the importance of your laughter until it is no longer echoing in their world. They don't appreciate your loyalty until it is no longer offered. Don't feel the warmth of your love until it is no longer within reach. This is why your absence is often more powerful than your presence. When you withdraw, the silence you leave behind becomes louder than all the words you could have spoken. It forces the other person to face themselves without the comfort of your support. They begin to feel the gap, emptiness, and the consequences of what it means to dismiss someone who carried so much value. But as much as this realization may awaken them, the true purpose of walking away is not to make them regret. It is to remind you of your own worth. You are not defined by how someone else treats you. You are defined by the value you recognize in yourself. If someone cannot see your light, it does not mean the light has gone out. It only means they chose to close their eyes. Just because they refuse to look does not mean you are not shining. Your decision to step away is not about revenge or punishment. It is about realignment. It is about choosing peace over chaos, self-worth over neglect, and healing over hurt. Every loss also creates space for something new. When you remove yourself from someone who ignored you, you are making room for connections that will honor you. You are opening the door for love that sees, values, and celebrates you. Sometimes we hold on to people because we fear loneliness, but in truth, holding on to the wrong person delays the right one. Every time you tolerate being ignored, you close the door on relationships that could be built on mutual care and respect. When you finally walk away, you unlock opportunities that were waiting for your courage to make room. It is important to remember that loss does not mean defeat. It means transition. It means growth. It means you are moving from what no longer serves you into what will bless you. And yes, it hurts to let go. It hurts to recognize that someone you gave so much to could not see your worth. But pain is often the price of wisdom. Through that pain, you gain clarity. You begin to see that being ignored is not a reflection of your insufficiency, but a reflection of their inability to value what is rare and precious. So let the loss teach you, not break you. Let it remind you of the treasure you are. Let it push you to protect your energy more fiercely and to walk with greater confidence in your worth. Because those who ignore you today will one day feel the emptiness your absence leaves behind. And while they wrestle with that realization, you will already be walking in a new chapter, one filled with people who will never need to lose you to know your value. There is a unique kind of strength that comes from learning how to protect your peace. When someone ignores you, your first impulse may be to fight for their attention, to demand answers, or to chase after the validation you feel is missing. But in reality, true power lies not in chasing, but in setting boundaries. Boundaries are not walls built from bitterness, lines drawn from wisdom. They protect your heart, your energy, and your spirit from those who cannot or will not honor them. Healing begins the moment you decide that your well-being matters more than their indifference. It begins when you no longer allow their silence to dictate your sense of worth. Ignoring their dismissal is not weakness. It is maturity. It is choosing not to waste your precious energy on proving yourself to someone who has already chosen not to see you. It is saying, I know who I am, and I will not let your neglect define me. Every time you honor your boundaries, you reinforce the truth that your value does not depend on outside validation. It comes from within, from the quiet confidence of knowing that you are worthy of love, respect, and care. And when you stop fighting for attention, you create space to focus on nurturing yourself, healing your wounds, and building a life where your peace is non-negotiable. Many people confuse strength with endurance. They think that being strong means staying in situations where they are ignored, overlooked, or dismissed. But real strength is not about how much you can endure from others. It is about how firmly you can stand in your worth. Endurance may keep you in a painful situation, but boundaries will free you from it. When you step back from someone who consistently ignores you, you are not giving up. You are choosing a healthier path. You are protecting your spirit from being drained and your heart from being broken repeatedly by the same neglect. This is not an easy choice, and it often comes with moments of doubt. You may wonder if walking away makes you cold or unloving, but protecting your peace is one of the highest acts of self-love. It's not about refusing to give. It is about refusing to be emptied by people who do not pour back into you. It is about ensuring that the love you give flows into places that can honor it. In the process, you begin to heal. Healing does not come from begging for acknowledgement. It comes from releasing the need for it. Healing comes when you realize that your life does not revolve around someone else's attention, but around your own growth, purpose, and alignment. With every boundary you set, you strengthen the foundation of your self-respect. You begin to see that being ignored does not have to destroy you. Instead, it can redirect you. It can guide you toward environments and relationships where you are not just seen, but celebrated. And while it may hurt to let go of someone who once held your heart, peace you gain in return far outweighs the loss. Your silence, your withdrawal, and your decision to move forward without bitterness become the loudest declarations of your strength. So let your boundaries be firm. Let your healing be intentional. Let your peace be your priority. Because the moment you choose to protect yourself from neglect, you reclaim control over your life. You stop being a prisoner of someone else's silence and step into the freedom of your own strength. And in that freedom, you discover that ignoring their dismissal was never about losing them. It was always about finding yourself again.